All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Marakah Kodash. Yahweh is the Most High's name, who the world ignorantly called God through his son Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. Rakah Kodash is the Holy Spirit, all in the ancient Hebrew tongue. Double honors to the Apostle Elders Great Millstone. And salute honors to you brothers out there, preachers, word, sharing the truth. All right, it's Brother Zayon from Great Millstone, Las Vegas camp. As you can see it, big topic in the news today. It said how the U.S. government pushed the national debt to $40 trillion in less than a generation. All right, so the scriptures, the Holy Bible, foretold that this was going to happen to Great Babylon, America. All right, and that's why you had the prophets, man. The prophets, these people trying to figure out why this nation is 40 trillion in debt, and you never ask yourself 40 trillion in debt to whom? Well, to the elite bankers, all right, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, other elite bankers. That's who they're in debt to, okay? Because the elite bankers, they fund both sides of the wars, man. All right, these elite bankers, they have over 500 trillion. All right, if they would have sell everything they have, turn it into liquid, it'll be over 500 trillion. All right. So, yeah, America owes the elite bankers, and the debt note is the dollar bill. All right. So, and in order for you people to pay the debt, you can't pay the debt. So the alternative is going to be the MOTB. All right. That's actually the microchip. It's going to be implanted. All right, implanted in the population of the world. All right, this is the New World Order that is foretold to come. And so it said, let me read this. It said, it's easy to forget that less than a generation ago, the U.S. government's fiscal trajectory was excellent in 2001. So a generation, they said 25 years. It said the federal government have been running an annual surplus for 4 years, and the Congressional Budget Office even projected that the national debt would effectively be zero by 2009. That suffice to say did not happen. Yeah, because the Lord didn't want it to happen. Which I'm going to bring out the scripture in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. It said the national debt instead grew, reaching 10 trillion in 2008. But you had that 2008 financial crisis, right? So the banks had to get bailed out. They said then quadrupling over the next 18 years to this to week's gloomy milestone over 40 trillion in debt. All right, and another news event that's going on right now is the bond market. The American bonds are, don't nobody want them no more. Meaning these other countries. They're seeing America as being too proud, man. So the dollar's getting weaker and weaker. The trust in America is getting weaker and weaker. And that's why the bonds is having problems. All right. When the bond market goes, everything goes, man. You're talking about you can't go to the bank and get cash out. You can't go to the bank and get cash out. Your debit card won't work. Your credit card won't work. That's what's going to happen when the debt market explodes. Like I said, the debt spiral is starting. Warren Mark Goldwyn that Japan had, their bond market collapsing, but America bailed them out. Billions of dollars. I think they pay euros, but yeah, billions and billions of fiat currency to bail Japan out. And Japan is still having problems with their bond market. That was only injected, like a morphine drug or something, but the pain is still there, man. I said, let's see. Said Warren Mark Goldwyn, Senior Vice President of Committee Responsible Federal Budget, small ad, whose group has laid out an unsparing detailed 1.2% surplus in 2001 morphed into 6% deficits that are now the norm. Historically, these levels were seen during wars and deep recessions. Yeah, and that's what's going on right now. It's a deep recession. And you got a war going on with Iran, which Iran is the linchpin of World War III, Armageddon, leading to America's destruction by thermonuclear missiles, man. Said the latest projections are that the U.S. government will run deficit of $2.1 trillion when the government's fiscal year is September 30th. The cost of simply servicing your debt now makes up 50% of U.S. government spending, more than the government spends on defense. See the national at $40 trillion. All right. So there you go, man. Let's grab this. I'm reading the KJV first, and I'm reading the GNT. They say Habakkuk, the second chapter, the 6th verse. And Habakkuk is prophesying about Babylon, which is America. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and they talk in proverbs against him, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his. How long? And what is Esau doing right now? It's actually elite bankers, but they put Trump up there, to be the face. So they just basically tell Trump, hey, go into Iran and make war with Iran, and take their shit over. All right, take over their land. All right. Trump is so-called jokingly taunting of about the Strait of Hormuz, call it Strait of America, some shit. Like he doing with Greenland, like he doing with Venezuela. Trying to make it an American territory. All right. Iran been the Persians been in that land for thousands of years, man. But here comes Esau, which is the so-called white man. He's the devil, Satan on the planet Earth. They're a nation of demons. All right. They're the physical counterpart of the devil, Satan. Spiritual demon, Satan. All right. It said, woe to him that increases not, which is not his, how long, and to him that laden himself with thick clay. Thick clay goes into heavy debt. All right. Heavy debt. It said NLT, verse 7, some of your debtors will take action. All right. And they also putting economic, I'm talking about Babylon, also putting economic pressures on Iran too, man. All right. Trying to freeze all their accounts and whatnot. So, yeah, man. And it goes back to that 40 trillion too. First and foremost, that 40 trillion in America, is in debt to the elite bankers, man. All right. was reading in a GNT. Habakkuk 2 and 6. The conquered people will taunt the conquerors and show their scorn for them. They will say, you take what isn't yours. And Esau, he took this land from the Gadites, which are Israelites, Hebrew Israelites. All right, Hebrew Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. He raped and robbed and plundered this land and enslaved us. We was here, thousands of years before this devil got here, man. And then he brought the Southern Kingdom, so-called Negroes, over here to, build up his wicked-ass kingdom, man. But that's all right. You devils, you going into slavery for 1,000 years. And it's going to be a long 1,000 years, too. You take what isn't yours, but you are doomed. How long will you go on getting rich by forcing your debtors to pay up? And Trump, talking about the EU, and also South Korea. You need to help us with this war in Iran. But these countries in the EU and South Korea said, no, you got it. We don't want to get involved. Telling your allies to pay up, But I said, but before you know it, you that have conquered others will be in debt. You're in debt yourselves and be forced to pay interest. I believe the interest on this 40 trillion is like $1 trillion a month. And America came to pay that. All right. So yeah, man. The elites of the society, which are Edomites, they're gonna use this debt to force the people to take the microchip. All right, so they can be basically servants, slaves to the beast system, man. All right, this is all gonna transfer to microchip, man. All right, that's the end goal for the elites. So you can see it, man. So that's pretty.